The following featured presentation is part of the Skywalking Network.
This is what you can look forward to on this revolutionary episode 514 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
Never
Perhaps.
underestimate the power of the Skywalkers.
Hey, that was way better than it had any right to be, I think one of the very last times to go to San Diego Comic-Con, basically all you had to do was show up, fill out a piece of paper, and you could buy a badge to get in.
Wow. Okay, I have a big question about my first convention. Does a Scholastic Book Fair count?
Are you ready?
Off to Neverland!
Here we go!
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Disneyland is your land.
When I first made Star Wars, everybody in Hollywood said, well, this is a movie Disney should have made.
You're more than just fans. You're family.
Best day ever!
Secrets lab.
It's about family, and that's what's so powerful about it.
Hey.
When you use a bird to write with, it's called tweeting.
When we visit the world of Disney, we never grow old. It's a Peter Pan, Never Land that keeps us young in heart.
This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you are skywalking through Neverland. I have a good feeling about this.
Hey, Skywalkers! Convention season is now in full swing. Next up, Comic-Con Revolution! Big things are going to be happening there, and we're going to tell you all about it. But for right now, we want to welcome you back to Skywalking Through Neverland. I am Richard Woloski, but now everyone please say hello to my sweetie wife Sarah, who's dressed like a mermaid this week.
Indeed.
Is that a mermaid-themed outfit?
It is. It's got little seashells, it's got little seaweed, and it's representing Ariel.
And I'm just noticing that right now.
Yes, it's very
You know
nice.
what? Because I was looking at your pretty face.
Aww.
Score. Score for me. That's how you do it, guys.
I'm speechless. Okay. We are your enthusiastic podcast destination for the many decades of your Star Wars, Disney, Marvel, and pop culture fandom. So imagine a big Wookiee hug from us and a little sprinkle of pixie dust for our family of Skywalkers. Okay, Richard. So last week we had gone up 250 YouTube subscribers?
We went up a huge number last week. I think because of all of our Fan Fest nights.
Right.
And our Andor stuff.
Yeah.
We jumped, and every day it was like jumping up another 100.
Yeah.
Another 100.
So what is it? We were 300 away from 10,000 subscribers.
Okay.
What is it now?
10,514? What is this?
We did it! You guys did it! Oh my goodness!
We thought we would get 9,500 beat by Comic-Con in San Diego in July. All you gotta do is ask. And people give, I guess.
Thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. Welcome all the new subscribers. There's, I guess, 1,000 almost in a week and a half. So, wow. That's so great, and everyone is very happy. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, all the big YouTubers that we talked to, all the big YouTubers say that all of a sudden their numbers will just jump right up because for some reason or another the algorithm will shift and your videos will pop up on other people's videos. But that seems to be a continuous story, how people's YouTube channels just blossom and explode.
Mm-hmm. And we've had that happen a couple times in the past 10 years, and this is the third time.
We posted all those videos with Katie Sackhoff about The Mandalorian Season 3.
Yeah.
We were going up another 1,000 at that point too. Mm-hmm. So thank you. We are very, very touched.
Yes. Oh, we're so excited. Yay.
Good work pays off.
All right, so 15,000 next. What do you think?
But
well, no, I mean just in general. That's our next goal.
By San Diego Comic-Con?
I don't know about that.
Or Comic-Con Revolution on May 17th and 18th? I think we can do it. Another 5,000. Yeah, you know what? We said it couldn't happen before, and you guys proved us wrong by kept throwing subscribers at us. It's like, oh no, please stop. Never underestimate the power of the Skywalkers.
Well, coming up on this episode, David Nieves, the programming director of Comic-Con Revolution, will join us to talk about this big convention coming the weekend of May 17th through 18th. And he also talks about his fandom and how he got into conventions. It was a really interesting conversation.
I always love to hear people's stories about how they went to their first conventions and where and what age. I love those stories.
Yes, yes. Now, this same convention, we will hold 2 of our trivia party panels. It's trivia party now.
Oh,
trivia party panels.
This is on Sunday.
Yes.
May 18th.
Right.
The first panel is at 12 p.m. and that's our pop culture trivia challenge party extravaganza. I think in the schedule it's listed under pop culture trivia challenge strikes back.
Oh, okay. Yes, because that's when we previously had put it in.
Yeah,
yes.
We keep on changing the names.
Yeah. And then just about an hour later at 2:45 p.m., we will have the Star Wars trivia. So it's going to be so fun.
2 big trivia party challenges on one day. That's going to be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot wait.
And each of them, I think we're given an hour and 15 minutes. So there's going to be more room for trivia instead of having to take a whole chunk of the time to do our lottery at the end.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
If you've been to our panels, our trivia parties, you know that we love to give away stuff. And we get tons and tons of stuff to give away. And yeah, to devote 10, 15, or sometimes 20 minutes to that. Like, we want to keep on playing games. And I know how hard of a job it is for you to reel me in.
It's a big job.
Big. Huge.
A big job. Huge.
Okay, pretty woman. Let's tell everyone that we are being sponsored by Small World Vacations, and they are a diamond level Disney vacation planner travel agency that can help you book your trip to a Disney park around the world, a Disney cruise, and the Universal Studios theme parks, either here in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, or over in Orlando. Epic Universe is coming. I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And guess what? This service is free. What? This service is free of charge. So head over there to smallworldvacations.com for a no obligation price quote and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you. So excited.
So excited. Speaking of trivia, let's see. Julie says we may have some stuff to donate. Oh, that would be great. In fact, we are requesting donations for prizes to give away. If you have something sitting around at your house, maybe some books, some new books, some awesome pins, some Funko, maybe you're just, don't have room for anything. We will take donations for prizes at Star Wars, pop culture, Disney. Mm-hmm. Any of that.
And Julie, I think you gave me this button the first time we had met you and James at Comic-Con Revolution.
Aww.
It's Chewbacca. He's wearing a blue shirt.
That's so cute.
Nice.
Well, we are recording this episode from Long Beach, California on May 2nd, 2025. So, Richard, what happened today in Star Wars history?
Well, to honor the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, let's go back to May the 2nd, 2006. It was 19 years ago when Revenge of the Sith wins top honors in 2 categories at the 32nd Saturn Awards. And the Saturn Awards, these are the Oscars for science fiction and horror. You know, the awards that really matter. So Revenge of the Sith wins for Best Science Fiction Film, and John Williams wins for Best Score.
Yay!
Now, Star Wars has been sweeping the Saturn Awards since 1978, and I couldn't be happier because, once again, it's the Saturn Awards that really matter, People's Choice Awards,
right,
and the MTV Movie Awards.
There you go.
Yeah, the Oscars, they roll out some of their nominees, like, what is this now? Is this movie even come out yet?
Past the 90s, the Oscars stopped being relevant.
Right.
Yes.
And guess what? Guess what you won't see at the Saturn Awards? Annie Hall. No mention of Annie Hall. Yeah.
You know what I love?
You're not going to rob Star Wars from top honors, Annie Hall.
We were watching 30 Rock, and they were making a big deal out of the Tracy Jordan, how he was in a movie called hard to watch that was up for Oscar contention. And I thought that was so funny. It was like so on the nose.
Mm-hmm. The humor on 30 Rock is very on point, and it's a lot of inside jokes.
Yes.
A lot of Star Wars inside jokes, too.
Mm-hmm. It's so great.
All right, with that, now let's see what's happening at Comic-Con Revolution. You've heard us talk endlessly about it, and now Comic-Con Revolution is just around the corner. The convention will be held over the weekend of May 17th and 18th in Ontario, California. Celebrities will be there signing autographs, there is merchandise as far as the eye can see, and we will be hosting 2 of our signature trivia game show panels.
With us now is David Nieves, Programming Director for Comic-Con Revolution, to tell us more about this Comic-Con Bash.
Hey, David!
Hi, guys. Great to be here.
Oh, great. Yeah, we're so excited to have you on. It's always good hearing from someone who's involved in planning about the event.
Yeah, and every time we see you at Comic-Con Revolution, you're like running this way, you're zipping that way, you're scaling the walls. Like, oh, there goes David again. But you always save a second to stop by and say hello to us. So we really appreciate
we
that.
always love having you guys. I always want to make sure I say hi to you guys. And yeah, I am a total blur. It's not just with you guys. I have a lot of other friends who visit the show. Some do things at the show, and I rarely get to see them. They see me in passing, and if I'm lucky, they'll actually toss candy my way.
Yeah, I think you open your mouth and someone's throwing a Snicker bar in there, and off you go while you're spinning like plates on your fingers and your toes.
I mean, that's really, if you had a textbook for how to run conventions, that image would be there somewhere.
Yeah, most definitely. And once again, thank you for always finding room for us in your programming schedule, because I think we've been at Comic-Con Revolution, or CCR for those in the know, for the last like 4 or 5, maybe even before the pandemic, I want to say.
Yeah, I want to say, I think 2019 was the first year we had the Star Wars trivia. I'm trying to remember who the guest was, but you reached out to me because I think we had actually met at a Avengers Endgame screening on the Disney lot.
Right.
Yeah, right before, and we talked a little bit. And then you reached out to me after, and it was a perfect fit, and people seemed to really enjoy it. So we're just, hey, if you guys ever want to come back and do this, which is now turned into rolling into 2025.
Yeah. It's a great convention, and congratulations on the many years that you've been doing this, and the panels are fantastic. Everyone who works there, I gotta say, know their stuff. Most times you go to a convention, you ask someone where something is, they're like, I don't know, but all the staff there, they know where to send you. So highest kudos to them. But now let's go back a couple of years, and let's talk about your personal fandoms when you first started growing up to now. Has your fandoms changed, and what's on top there?
Oh yeah, it's strange because when you I think I've spent the last about over a decade doing conventions all over, and before that, I was going to them as a fan. But I think my top fandom has always particularly stayed as Marvel in a way. Started with comic books. My simple comic book origins for me. I was a kid who always tagged along with my mom grocery shopping, and back then it was kind of like final days where you could see comic books like on a newsstand, or I'm aging myself so badly here, but yeah. So
or the spinner rack.
Spinner rack, yeah. I saw a copy of Jim Lee's X-Men #4 on this rack right there, and it's just something that I instantly got gravitated to, and I begged my mom to buy it, which at the time wasn't too much. It's like $1.25, and ever since then, it's just taken off from there. I always had to have it week after week, or month after month. Then the cartoon came around, and so that has remained my top fandom to this day. And as I've done other conventions and other type of trade shows, things have caught my eye that I've delved into, video games. My family also had a love of Star Wars that I got imparted to, but not on the level that my siblings were. So I caught the bug, but I've managed to not spend what other people have spent on that Star Wars fandom. Totally get it. Everybody should, support what they love. It just I was able to control that one as opposed to other things in my life.
And you have like behind you have some X-Men figures. Is that what's on display?
Yeah, I
right
have
there?
the X-Men figures, and actually, let me just tilt this up a little bit real quick. Sorry about the glare. That
Ooh.
poster was from last year at CCR, where we had the cast of the X-Men animated series, and they were super sweet and super nice. As you said, I don't really get a chance to stop and talk to everyone that I wanted to talk to. So I did a little old trick that I learned being an intern on The Simpsons, where if you wanted somebody like Matt Groening or David Silverman to sign something for you, and you rarely ever saw them, you would kind of leave it in the break room with a note, and they would see it, or one of the producers would see it, and they would, if you're, they want to help out interns as much as they can, so somebody would go and get that signed for you. And then you'd come back, a couple of days later, and it would just be there, and everybody's on this awesome honor system of don't take my stuff. But yeah, so I had that poster in the office with just a note that said, "Hey, please do me a favor and sign this to me. It would mean so much." And I would say hi if I could, but I probably won't get to. And by the time I came back at the end of the show, Guy Agostini, I think, was the last one signing it. And I saw everybody, Ross, everybody who signed it. And it was just an awesome thing. Because I rarely get these things for myself. I want all the fans that go to have those experiences, because that's why I do this. That's why the people at CCR do this. So that one was kind of for me, though. So jealously.
Well, being a big Marvel fan, are you excited about Thunderbolts?
Yeah, I actually saw it last night, and I was telling my wife on the way home. It was not going to spoil anything, obviously, but
we've already seen it.
We've seen it.
Okay, it was something. It was, hey, that was way better than it had any right to be. It was totally, it was the first time since I think Endgame that I was like, wow, I am fully satisfied by that movie.
You know what? That should be on the poster. much better than it
had
could
any
be.
Right
yeah,
to. It had any right to be.
much better than it had any right to be.
I know, we were also surprised at how, wow, this was a really good, and even just the end credits where they made fun of like magazines and like
and
people
social media.
Not
my Avengers.
Not my Avengers. Yeah. Can she do it?
Yeah, but we won't spoil any more for those who haven't seen it just yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a collector of anything else other than X-Men paraphernalia?
Oh, geez. So obviously also my comic book love expanded. So, I became a huge Batman fan down the line, like a lot of people. I got into it through Batman the Animated Series. Sorry, that one fell a little bit. Batman the Animated Series, some of the 90s DC comic books, and kind of just all through that stuff. And as I grew up, and as you guys are too, I became a Disney Parks fan.
Yes.
And then I thought me knowing kind of like the small tricks of, don't park where everyone in the world park at the other lot and just walk across the bridge, or go in from around the backside of downtown Disney. There's no security. I thought knowing those tricks brought me to a certain level. And then I met really hardcore park addicts who, they're in the groups with the vests and their clubs with the patches, and they know every little ounce of the lore behind this, and they talk about Walt as if he's still in the park, and it's an awesome thing to hear and experience from people that love it so much. Whereas me, I'm like, okay, I came for the popcorn bucket and to take a couple of pictures with people. So we're on different levels of that fandom, but we still both have an appreciation for Disney.
Now, here's a good tip. If you really want to make good time when you're walking through these very, very crowded passageways, when people stop to form a group and talk to each other like a stone in a creek, so everyone's going to move around them, which really impedes the flow, walk right through them. Walk right through them and say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think you were going to stop right here in the middle of a very busy passageway. I'm so sorry. That's on me.
That one, and definitely even if you see yourself as an antisocial, it's the place that making friends pays off. Especially if you can make friends and be nice with cast members. I don't know that I've ever been in a place where things like simple kindnesses and appreciation is rewarded.
You know what? One of those things that kind of gone by the wayside with the whole revolution of the Disney app is the paper fast passes. Have you ever been gifted, like the fast pass, someone's leaving and they just kind of give you their fast pass for the day? It's like, oh, it's so sweet. Like that was the best moment. And when you could do that too to someone, that was great.
Yeah, I miss kind of the ASMR of it where you put your pass into the machine and those tickets would just fly out of there.
Yep. Yeah, it spits it out, yeah.
But then there's more lines you gotta wait in.
Indeed. All right, well, we want to know, when did you attend your very first convention?
Ooh. As a worker or volunteer or just as a fan?
As a fan.
As a fan.
Oh, as a fan. Very, very young age. Actually, I was spoiled. My first convention ever was San Diego Comic-Con in the early mid 90s, around the time of kind of the 90s X-Men popularity, because I had a cousin who I found out was very into comics. He was much older than me, had his collection already, and he would tell me and my siblings about, oh, if you guys like comic books, you should go to San Diego Comic-Con. And I was, okay, cool. So, I was a kid, I was little, so like I begged and cried it sounded so cool, I had to see it. And I forced my aunt to tell her son to take me along with them. So, I was about, 13. This was, I think one of the very last times to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Basically, all you had to do was show up, fill out a piece of paper, and you could buy a badge to get in.
Wow.
And yeah, so, and the biggest thing there, it was before studios, but the biggest thing there was, the DC, Marvel, Image Comics booths. So that was probably, I'd say 92 or 93. And I attended a few, actually, I think my first 2 or 3 cons ever, because I was a kid, was San Diego Comic-Con. I never knew anything about, stuff happening at like the Shriners Auditorium for their convention back then, or, WonderCon in San Francisco, or any other kinds of conventions, because I was just a fan, who was reading Wizard magazine and going to these things and not even really recognizing names, but not really knowing what they look like, or people standing in front of me were the artist. I was just a fan being mesmerized by this world of comic books.
Wow.
I think your first convention was San Diego Comic-Con.
I think it was too, like 2007, 2008?
Yeah, I want to say.
One of those, yeah.
Oh, that is prime, big, massive San Diego. And I always kind of get a kick out of bringing people for the first time to San Diego as like the mega show and seeing their reactions.
It was very overwhelming, and the last Harry Potter book had just come out, and I had it with me. So like after being an hour in the show floor, I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I went outside.
I'm like, come on, we've only done aisle A. There's so many more to go. Let's go.
I went outside to the grassy knoll that is now the Hall H line, and I just read my Harry Potter final book for a while until I was ready to like go back in, because it was just like a smack you in the face with humanity.
And then you went to go to the Hall H for this upcoming movie called Avatar. Have you ever heard of this movie? Yeah, it came and went. And then you came to me and said, I just saw this mind-blowing preview.
Yeah, it was
like,
so cool.
Avatar.
Well, that's back when you could just walk into Hall H, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that
it was so
ain't
random.
Yeah, those days are long gone now.
Yeah.
Well, you guys beat me. I think my first convention was held in like this little tiny Sheraton meeting room.
But that's a good way to go.
Eight dealer tables. I thought that was huge.
This was the 1980s, right?
1970s.
Oh, okay.
Of course, being the late 70s, they were all Star Wars. It was like, this is what heaven is like.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story, though, because your conventions were kind of more what I pictured back then when I was told about them, where it's just kind of like, oh, you're in a hotel ballroom and you have a couple of famous comic book people that you don't really know, and a bunch of people just shopping for comics all day. So I don't think those experiences really exist as much anymore.
Oh,
and I really sometimes kind of wish they did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I cherish those conventions, and once it moved from the little banquet room to the ballroom, like, instead of 8 dealers, now there's like 125, and there's people dressing up as these characters from Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who. They're all wearing these long giant scarves. Like, oh my goodness, I'll never go back to that real world again.
Okay, I have a big question about my first convention. Does a Scholastic Book Fair count?
Oh, we all had Scholastic Book Fairs. They were awesome.
Weren't they? They were the best. I'm like, oh, look at this book. Oh, look at that. That was my first convention.
Yeah. You know what? Well, yes, it is. Okay, we'll give that one to you.
Book fair days where your parents just gave you $20 and you just walk out with a mountain of books and other like stuff.
So fun.
Is that when like a detached trailer would pull up to your school and you'd walk in and walk out the back door with like 3
it was definitely
issues of Dynamite?
It was probably set up in like the room, like a big room, an assembly room at the school. Like and they would have the tables and they would have their books out. You'd have like the DK publishing. You had the different publishers have their books, and they were mostly geared toward kids, so they would be small books, and I'd be like, oh, I want to get this. Oh. Yeah, it was great.
For us, we'd have a couple of issues of Pizzazz and Dynamite, and then off you go. So now, how did you go from convention attendee to working at a convention, David?
Oh, that's a very short but long-winded story of. So it was 2011. I was living in Long Beach at the time, and I'm still a fan. I'd kind of lapsed about comic books at the time, but I saw an ad for Long Beach Comic Con. I think it was their first or second year, and at the time I didn't really have any money, so I saw this thing on their site that said, "Hey, if you volunteer at our convention, you'll receive entry." And lunch or something. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll see what that's about. You throw free food in there. And I did. And also just kind of the tidbit. So at the time I was going to school for film and television production. So I, already had a lot of experience coordinating small to medium-sized productions just among students and amateur filmmakers. So, at Long Beach at the time, they were so small with their staff that, so many people did, 5 or 6 jobs. So I stepped in for a lot of things that they were kind of lacking or didn't have enough people to do. So I think there's this one day that stood out to where I was there from about 2 to 3 hours before they opened to about an hour after they closed, and I was doing so much stuff that they came by and were, hey, you've really passed the hours that we asked for a volunteer. It would be kind of messed up if we didn't pay you for your time. And I wasn't expecting it at the time. So at that point, they had said, hey, we're going to make you a staff member of our show. So we'll see you tomorrow, and then we'll see you next year. And then from there, it kind of just evolved into, hey, I know how to put together good experiences and panel programming for people. I did that stuff all the time in other places. So then you work one show, you meet so many people that go and own these other shows that from there it kind of just whirlwind into I found myself at a certain point doing about 5 to 6 conventions a year in this kind of capacity. So it was just kind of, it all started at Long Beach Comic Con in about 2011.
Nice. So obviously you got into Comic-Con Revolution. For those who've never attended, can you tell us about this particular convention?
Comic-Con Revolution is the scrappiest convention you're ever going to go to. It's in Ontario, California, which is kind of at times the forgotten member of Southern California. Everybody kind of focuses on LA, San Diego, and Orange County, but there's so many great pop culture fans out in the Inland Empire area. So Comic-Con Revolution really started as this sort of small, kind of wanted to recreate a small, intimate comic book experience. And then it kind of found that, hey, wow, there's a lot more people interested in this than we really, really anticipated. So from there, that show kind of focused on growing and doing experiences that at the time wouldn't really happen in other places. So I remember particularly, I think it was 2018 that Peter Cullen hadn't really, voice of Optimus Prime, hadn't really done conventions, but yet CCR managed to, get him for a day and do these like really awesome meet and greets where people got in, actually had some time, just a little bit more time than the usual couple of seconds of hi and bye, to chat with him, to tell him how much his work meant to them, and get like a photo, just of you and him just chilling at like a bar table almost. So there's so many people that got to do that experience that are really, lucky. And those are the kinds of things that this show strives to do, because obviously there are bigger cons in Southern California, whether it's by size or right now audience numbers. So what CCR does is really kind of try to give you things that happen in different ways than other shows.
It also has a very good focus. Like, I remember the year we had a book, we were selling our books, there was a focus on Avatar, The Last Airbender, with the people you were bringing in. And then the next year, last year was Star Wars Rebels focus.
Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, yep.
Exactly. And then this year, you've got Superman focus, like Smallville actors, you got Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum,
Erica Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a fully loaded list of people here. So
Brandon Routh? Oh my gosh.
Yes. So anyone go look at the ComicConRevolution.com website, and there's just an endless list of celebrities that you have coming there. And what is this, on Sunday, May 18th? 2 trivia panels? What? Pop culture and Star Wars trivia panels? Oh, that's us.
Oh yeah,
that's
wow.
us.
You guys, yeah, those are the ones. I'm glad. I know your schedules were a little bit tighter this year, so I'm glad we could at least get them for Sunday.
Yes.
So like I said, we always love having you guys, and the guest list this year focused on a few different reunions than we're used to. Typically, this show has done really well with big animation reunions, this is the first time we've kind of really dived into kind of a live action reunion with the Smallville cast. I'll tell you a quick little story about the Smallville cast.
Ooh.
So at another show in Kansas City in 2019, I put together it wasn't the biggest Smallville reunion guest wise, because it was Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum, and Dean Cain, who was a big guest star. I did get them probably the biggest Superman fanboy on the planet that I knew at the time, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, and they put on an awesome show. And I can say this now, going back about 5-10 minutes before the show, all of them were backstage just having complimentary drinks from a bar that rolled by backstage. And
wow.
It was highly noticeable. So I think that video is online somewhere so you can see it. And even Rosenbaum is still drinking while he's on stage. I don't know that that's going to happen during Comic-Con Revolution because I don't know what the bar situation is in the Ontario Convention Center. But, that's one of my favorite memories with the Smallville cast. And then we also have the cast, the voice cast from Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, which is just an awesome show that so many DC fans really, especially the 2003 version of Teen Titans, they look back on with such fond memories. So hopefully that's another thing that is going to be, hey, this is such a great moment to have those guys together and talk about it on stage.
It's always fun when you can get those reunions because it turns into like, remember this part, remember this time and this time and stuff you won't really hear in another interview because they're all remembering on the moment. And it's like, hey, I know you didn't want me to tell everyone about this, but let's tell everyone about the time when we all got drunk at Comic-Con Revolution. And then John Schneider is going to be there, Jonathan Kent.
In Smallville,
Or
or Dukes
Duke
of Hazzard.
Well, Dukes of Hazzard, I think it'd be... I'm not sure. I know the Star Cars group is coming. They always put out the cars from TV and film every year. I'm hoping that they bring a General Lee and John just gets a photo.
Oh yeah,
they would.
There's gonna be a mob.
A lost opportunity if they don't, because I want a picture of John Schneider sliding across the hood of the General Lee. He may scratch it up, but it'll be very well worth it, and have maybe a photo up where you're like sitting on the window on the door that's welded shut with Bo Duke sliding across. I would pay some good bucks for that.
Oh,
now,
definitely.
clearly for our pop culture trivia, we're gonna have to throw some
Dukes of Hazzard
Superman and Dukes of Hazzard
Superman,
stuff
Dukes
in
of
there.
Hazzard, Teen Titans. And one of the other things too that we love doing is kind of focusing and celebrating comic books and the art of comic books, which obviously is a dear thing to me. So one of the things that we do every year, but we just try to make it bigger and bigger, is sort of our what we call Sketchtown Showdown, where 3 professional, pretty popular comic book artists get together in a drawing contest with the fans voting and seeing who they like the best. And then all the art is auctioned off at the end of that session. This year, it's going to benefit Cats and Comics Rescue in the Inland Empire. So they're kind of a nerd association that does cat rescue. So they have a place out in Ontario that they house cats that are going up for adoption. They're on our show floor every year. People actually get to meet them. And one thing we're also going to do this year with them for cosplayers and people that kind of just want that like Disney photo experience. If you're not allergic to cats, you can definitely come by and you'll get a photo in your cosplay with an adoptable cat that we hope people will kind of share and spread the awareness of. And even if you're not in cosplay, we'll have a Deadpool there that will get in the photo with you and the cat. So just something that, is cool that people will be able to download later and share just to kind of raise awareness.
Yeah. We have some friends who adopted a cat.
Julie and James.
Yep, from Comic-Con Revolution a couple years ago.
Yeah, they'll get an action figure, an art print, and a kitty cat.
What other show does that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I really liked your story earlier about how you volunteered at a convention and now you're working at a convention. If someone in the future wants to volunteer and hopefully maybe gain employment at Comic-Con Revolution, do they go to the website? How do they apply to be a volunteer?
So it's kind of a law. I don't know the specifics of it now, but only nonprofit organizations are allowed to have volunteers. So, and a lot of shows get around this in one way or another, various ways. I can't speak for anybody else. But since Comic-Con Revolution is not a 501c recognized, we can't really have volunteers. So we do tend to hire, we tend to hire people who are passionate, talented, and really, as just being in the convention world, you really have to be able to multitask in this world. So, we do, it's just kind of, you got to meet us on site, introduce yourself, and see where the opportunities are at that time. We always love meeting people, and obviously, as you touched on earlier, this is a show where you're not running into somebody who doesn't know the answers or doesn't know how to get you the answers, because we do a lot with a very limited amount of people. So we get to make sure that everybody is on the exact same page about what is going on, where, when, and how, and what to do in the event of not knowing the answer. So we're always on the lookout, but it's just really kind of a thing that we kind of got to meet you in person. So anybody listening, don't be shy about coming up to us in the shirts and, introducing yourself and telling us who you are and, how passionate you are about this stuff.
Yeah, you are one of the most approachable people in the convention circuit. So anyone, please, if you're not out there spinning a couple of plates and maybe just have one spinning plate, go ahead and say, hey, my name is, and maybe set up a time later on where you guys could talk. Now, speaking of next year, maybe if you want to set up some kind of a big trivia competition between the stars and the fans, or integrate the stars and the fans to work with each other and
do some kind of trivia.
That's what I'm getting at. And if you need any hosts for something like that, you let me know, because we'll put the whole thing together for you.
I think I know two people who would be great for it. If only they weren't busy podcasting all the time.
Okay, we're done here. Bye.
Yeah, that is actually something that has been on my radar and my want to do list for this show. There are game show experiences that go on at other cons that are great, and you want to create something that's unique for you. And I would love to at some point. I don't know if it'll be next year, but to look at for the future of I always wanted to do a sort of Family Feud style kind of game show with the guest cosplayers versus the cast of whoever we have there, or even just cosplayers versus voice actors, cosplayers versus wrestlers, that kind of thing. And that's something we look to doing down the line. But like I said, this event runs on such a limited staff that we have to find the right time and the right people to help us, and see what that kind of entails. Because, one of the things about Comic-Con Revolution, it's very limited also in resource. So as a person for programming, I try to stretch out every budgeted dollar to make every little detail, something that feels professional and something worth people's time and money. So doing a game show adds another element of production that I need to look at and see, what that is. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, but we definitely have that notion on our radar. And I think you two are definitely on my short list to approach once we are ready to go full into that.
Well,
okay.
come by our trivia tournaments on Sunday. It's like, okay, they check all the boxes. Just throwing our names in the hat in the short list.
Oh,
So.
I always do. I always enjoy seeing the people come up with you guys and compete. So
nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's just so much fun.
Now I heard tell that this year at Comic-Con Revolution there's going to be an escape room. Can you tell us a little about this?
Yeah, so a company called Trapped Escape Rooms. They have a couple of locations in Southern California, here where I am in Las Vegas as well. They put together kind of like these fun kind of mystery escape rooms. And what we're going to do, it'll be in room 102 of the convention center. They're going to do something special and specifically themed for CCR. It's a short 20-minute kind of experience where you are thrown into a room that they call the Henchmen's Heist, and it's you and a group of up to 4 people are tasked with solving a mystery and catching the bad guys before the time runs out. I will have some pictures kind of through the process of them building on site because we've seen the posters and we've seen the concept that they've presented, and we're like, oh, this is cool, and but we really want to get some stuff to show people once they start the building that process. But it's a cool experience that I definitely want people to check out.
Is that something you're going to have to get tickets for in advance, or can you get it on site?
You can go on their site to sign up because it is a slotted schedule for them.
Okay.
So if you go to our social media, Comic-Con Revolution on all the platforms, it's always a post or a link in our bio that will give you all that information. And it's on our website as well, comicconrevolution.com.
Okay, cool.
Well, there's always something new going on at Comic-Con Revolution. I give you guys so much credit for that, for never staying stagnant, always building every year. Is there something this year that you personally are looking forward to? Sleep?
I'm a little biased because the art auction game show on Saturday, I'm going to be actually hosting because I get to have one abuse of power per show. And I really, love the group of comic book artists that I got to assemble for this. So we're doing this whole thing where we're going to have prompts for them to kind of speed draw through. So things like, hey, draw a supervillain that actually might leave a note on your car if they hit it. So
Riddler.
They'll have 20 minutes and then so it's not really like, hey, we pick one character to focus on. These guys will draw characters that they are very well known for or characters that they've just always wanted to try. And then, they'll try to sell the audience on why they picked this person. And then somebody will get to buy that at the end of the session and help a great cause.
Wow. That sounds really fun.
That's Saturday at noon, Sketchtown Showdown in room 200C.
Now, are any of your panels, the big panels, will these be streamed at all?
That's something everybody has really asked us about ever since the Avatar days. Because the Ontario Convention Center is a small building, so it doesn't really have a space that we can fit 1,000 people for a panel or special or something that we could do all day. So streaming is something that we have looked into. We're just not ready for that yet. We do tend to now record the biggest panels that happen at the show and put them up later for people to watch on YouTube. But as far as live streaming, it's something that is on our list of things to look into, because it is as simple sometimes as putting a phone on something and just letting it record. But we want to do something that is, a little bit more professional in quality. So that's another production element we have to look at and see where we can fit that in.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So put that right below the trivia competition for 2026, 2027. Priorities.
Exactly.
Priorities, exactly.
Now, throughout the year, do you work on other cons?
These days, I tend to more do trade shows, or I moved out to Vegas because this is the convention capital of the world. There's like 3 major convention centers in this city alone, and there's always something going on the national level here. So I tend to do more trade shows and corporate focused events. I do. So I did Comic-Con Revolution for the last few events that I had done in kind of the pop culture fandom space were Comic-Con Revolution, Planet Comic-Con, and a couple of the fan expo shows. Just as a basically contractor, we need help kind of basis.
Yeah.
I would say probably about the last 3 years, maybe, I've been kind of winding down the pop culture shows that I do. Not that this isn't a great space. And this is a space where I really enjoy meeting people because you find so many common interests with everybody that's going there. It isn't somebody that is in town because their job made them go do it. This is what people love, and it's always been fun to see and give them something to celebrate the love that they have for these things.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, stay with us. Stay with us here in the pop culture world. Hey, is Comic-Con Revolution, are they associated with Comic-Con itself, the San Diego Comic-Con?
Entities as far as CCI or Read Pop? No, Comic-Con Revolution is an independently run event by a company called Atomic Crush Events. Who they're a group that come from the Wizard World space and Long Beach Comic Con space. People that used to run those shows and do a lot of stuff for them, kind of branching out and doing their own thing. Comic Con Revolution started with the idea of being kind of a traveling brand. So there have been Comic Con Revolution shows in Chicago and Florida. But then COVID kind of pulled a few things back, and Ontario is kind of their pop culture wise, their kind of home base. So, it was important to kind of carry this on, and you can grow this and then get back to, doing other revolutions across the country when you're good and ready to go back to it. And I don't know what the timeline is on that, or what the future holds for it. Me personally, I'm really just focused in 2 weeks as of recording this, 2 weeks now. So that number, in production, the more you count down to things, it always scares you a little bit. And so now, it's, do I have all my I's and T's done,
Yeah, I don't want to scare you, but according to your website, it's 14 days, 21 hours, 34 minutes, and 26 seconds. Oh, no. David, are you still there?
Oh, God. Yeah, no. So I'm just going to, after we're done here, I'm just going to have a couple of Red Bulls and go right back to work on things.
I'm sure you got more plates to spin. So before we wrap up, tell people once again how they can get a hold of you on social media if they want to ask you a question, or how do they find more information on Comic-Con Revolution?
Well, Comic-Con Revolution, obviously coming up May 17th and 18th at the Ontario Convention Center. People can go to comicconrevolution.com for the full guest list. Like we said, it's stacked, full programming list, and as far also as the schedule of events goes, it's all on there. And get the tickets now, because the weekend's just gonna come right up and sneak up all of us. And then also, right now, people can actually find me also on their social medias, because they foolishly allowed me to have access to them, so I could answer everyone or talk to people that had questions. So you can go to Comic-Con Revolution on all the social medias. And I'm usually lurking there, seeing all the cosplayer stories and reading all the comments.
We definitely look forward to seeing you there, and we'll look for that blur. Like, there goes David. There he is again.
And yet you always appear right when we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. That's a skill that only comes with experience.
Unless you have clones. It's like, weren't you just standing over there? Now here you are over there.
No, actually, I tend. We tried that a long time ago. Technology wasn't there, so it's just kind of like I'm just gonna have to get more steps in now.
All right. Well, put that right below trivia competition, streaming, and then cloning David. Well, it's been a really fun conversation, and we look forward to seeing you in 14 days, 21 hours, 32 minutes, and 1 second.
Shoutouts, Skywalker shoutouts. Which Skywalkers get props from here in Neverland? Who was tweeted out? Shout out. Who was photoballed? Shout out. Who was shared a post? Shout out.
Now, this is the segment that we love to do. This is where we thank all of you Skywalkers for your continued support, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate it on a month-to-month basis. In fact, we're going to go ahead and just shout you out.
Absolutely. So many, many thanks to Anthony Kakias,
Blessed Cheesemaker,
Bryn McKinnon,
Carl Fox,
Chiekafant,
Christopher Marino,
Courtney Turkel,
Dale Erdman,
Darren Irvine,
Dave Kerwin,
Don Glover,
DynastyBook.net,
Glenn Stein,
Goalie Rob,
Jeff Caffrey,
Jeremy and Heather Hunt,
Joey Pittman,
John Liang. Hey, happy belated birthday, John.
John Zancanaro,
Jonathan Chiato,
Jordan Paley,
Julie Caruana,
Julie Gildersleeve,
and
Julie and James Gildersleeve, excuse me.
They come in a pair.
Yes.
Just like us. Justin Smith,
Cato Toby Ryder,
Kelly Turkel,
Kristen Carr,
Laura Bryce,
Leanne Nelson,
Meredith Duckworth,
Michael Corbett,
Michael Nip,
Mike Ward,
Nancy Steinman,
Patrick Pine,
Patty Hammond,
Patty Nazarian,
Peter and Norma Heitman,
Reynold Gobey,
Ryan Wiltberger,
Sasha Barrios,
Scott Carmichael,
Scott Hume,
Taryn Bench,
Wesley Meekums,
William Magalio, we just saw last week at Disneyland.
That's right. And
Wynn Patterson.
Yay me!
Yay me! Thank you.
That's right.
One and all for contributing every single month. We really, really appreciate it. And that's how we can do sometimes 2 episodes of Skywalking Through Neverland in 1 week.
Especially when it's Star Wars week with May the 4th coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good week.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
We love to give as much as we love to get.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up this bonus episode 514 of Skywalking Through Neverland. We want to thank David Nieves for joining us, and we hope you guys will join us at Comic-Con Revolution on May 18th for our 2 trivia panels.
And to go to our Facebook page and group, there'll be notifications coming this week.
Yeah, they should be events already.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we want to thank all of you Skywalkers who listen every single week. And please be one of the over 10,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel. I love saying that. That's so exciting. Aw. You can also find us on all socials at Skywalking Pod.
Now, do you have things that you want to share? Well, we do. So join us every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Things
We Want to Share.
This is our live YouTube show where we talk about the things we've done in the past week. Last week we talked about Universal Fan Fest nights. We're going to be talking about Andor coming up. Then we get to invite the Skywalkers to come on too to share something from their collection or a Celebration Japan story or anything you want to share. The floor is yours.
Are you interested in our books? Well, autographed copies of Today in Star Wars History, Parts 1 and 2, and Skywalking Through My Fandom, the interactive notebook, are available now at the lowest price ever until midnight on May 5th from skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book. So make sure you head there, skywalkingthroughneverland.com/book, and you might get 40% off your entire order.
What?
Maybe a good time to get some gifts for a Star Wars fan in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you know some kids who might want that interactive notebook? Or do you need to complete your Part 2 collection of Today in Star Wars History?
Yeah, because we are ramping up for our next book, Star Wars Trivia and Fun Facts.
Yes.
So we're getting a good little library together, aren't we?
We are.
Now,
we can be part of a Scholastic book fair.
You know what we could?
Yeah.
All it takes is 4 books, and we'll have that very, very soon. Now, do you want to support Skywalking Through Neverland like the aforementioned Skywalking Force, which is our Patreon? Well, the Skywalking Force has access to bonus content in the form of our Zoom and StreamYard discussions on past Disney Plus shows. You'll also get coupon codes, maybe a Comic-Con pass. You never know. You never know. Mm-hmm. It pays to be in it. You gotta be in it to win it, everybody. And this bonus content begins at only $5 a month. Is that a typo? Only $5 a month? Well, that is a good deal. So head over there to skywalkingforce.com and have a look at all the options. And thank you once again to those who are already part of the elite Skywalking Force.
And we'd also like to thank our sponsor, Small World Vacations, for their support. Are you thinking of a trip to Disney parks, a Disney cruise, or a Universal Studios theme park? You can fill out a Get a Quote form at smallworldvacations.com today. And their vacation planning service is free of charge. Disney pays them, not you. So check it out and tell them Skywalking Through Neverland sent you.
Woohoo! Now we are part of the Skywalking Network.
Skynet.
Where you can find other great shows like Talking Apes, which Kevin and I are going to be recording later on today, the next episode.
Oh, very soon. Yes,
Beware. Beware.
Star Wars Ologies, which this coming week, they will be putting out 3 of their panels from Star Wars Celebration Japan.
Whoa.
So check out their feed.
Also, the Max Effects podcast,
the Neverland Clubhouse,
Totally Tell Me Everything,
and the YouTube shows Collectopolis and
Today in Star Wars History. Now, don't forget to stick around for bloopers and other fun bits that didn't make it into the show. And
always remember
to visit us May 18th at Comic-Con Revolution for our pop culture and Star Wars trivia party extravaganza, Challenges of Chaos.
And maybe even adopt a cat. And
Neverland on Alderaan.
Okay, so clappy claps. Find out. Okay, so we're going to surprise you with 2 episodes this coming week.
Yes.
Which means we're going to record some quick wraparounds.
Wow.
Why?
Dig your... Fernando.
Or maybe he heard your comments on Cassian's little slip up.
Hey, look at those names to the left. They are part of the Skywalking Force, our Patreon.
Become a producer yourself and check out all the Disney Plus themed bonus content available depending on the level you subscribe.
Become a member of the elite Skywalking Force at skywalkingforce.com.